On our harbor system final report. So, a basic explanation of our project is that we are implementing a software that is designed to be used in harbors around the world, such as global shipping centers in LA or China. So, our goal was to streamline the process for all the workers at the harbor and allow them to easily report the work that is being done and have it all be documented to the harbor master running it all to make sure it goes smoothly and as efficiently as possible. So, a little bit, here's our user guide. So, once this program gets sent to the harbor, they are able to set it up and get it running on a tablet or computer at the stations where it's necessary. So first we have our profile creation, pretty simple, username, password, depending and choosing what job you are. Here's a little look at our menus that you'll see later. And then for the menu interaction, it varies from person to person depending on their job. So we showed all the menus for the harbor master. So as you can see, there's a lot of different buttons here because the harbor master has a lot of tasks and oversees a lot of the other workers. So he has some info screens where he can see what's going on. He can see tugboats, dock departure requests, assignment requests, and then docks in the system. And then as well as those things, he can also perform different actions that require inputs, whether it's a boat name, a dock name, tugboat name. And then we also have error messages in case something's inputted wrong or something isn't quite right, such as a boat not existing or a departure request not being sent. And then these are all the other menu screens of the other people at the dock. And then for testing, before we had the GUI, we tested it in the driver1 file. So this one just kind of went through the main use cases that would be necessary for normal dock operations, such as loading, unloading, assigning tugs, and we go over them here. So the first one is a dock operator test. So this makes sure that a dock operator can man and unman a dock, and that he can't be in two places at once. So if he tries to tries to man two docks at one time, it won't let him. And then the tugboat captain, he can only be in one tugboat at a time. So we test that. Same thing with the shipping captain. He's only allowed to be captaining one ship at a time. And then continuing along with the shipping captain can make dock requests, but he must be assigned to a ship when he makes that request, or else it won't let him. And then once he has made a request, he is unable to make another request until that one is fulfilled. And then for the tugboat assignment test, this deals with the harbor master. So he is able to assign tugboats to different shipping ships that come through the harbor. But obviously a tug can only be assigned to one shipping boat at a time. So we make sure that's working properly. And then not only that, he also has to make sure that where he is sending the ship is able to receive them, so that there must be a dock that is open and has a dock operator manning it for the ship to dock there. And then we test the dock operator unload. So obviously you can't unload a ship if it's not there, and then if it's empty, you also can't unload it. So we test that. And then we have our captain request departure test. So after the ship has been unloaded, the harbor master is able to assign tugs to escort the ship out of the harbor and back onto its course. And then afterwards it unassigns those tugs and allows them to be free for the next request. And then lastly, our last use case is approved departure request. So once unloaded and loaded back up again, the ship can request to depart, and he must first go through the harbor master, who will assign tugs and approve that departure. And then here are some of our interaction models, kind of just talking about the things that went over before. This is create profile, some more info about the login screen. This is some more just checking credentials to make sure that username and password are actually assigned to somebody with that job. More on login screen. Then here's some of our state models. So here's assigning a boat to a dock and all the events that must happen before it can happen and what happens after it is successfully runs. Same thing with request departure, request doc assignment, and goes on. Here's some of our classes, primitive data types, some of the details, some of the fields and methods that pertain to each of the classes. And then here's our UML diagram. So as you can see, it's a very interconnected system with the harbor master and harbor system at the heart of it. So most operations have to go through either one of those two things to be able to happen. So all the captains and basically all the people report to the harbor master, who then is able to talk to the harbor system to make sure that what is happening in a safe manner and all the necessary checks and balances have been fulfilled for safe operations in the harbor. And then for some of the challenges, we kind of had differing views on how we thought the project should go before we learned a lot more about Java as a whole, and then how the GUI implementation was going to work. So once we got that sorted out, it was smooth sailing. And then we also had some issues with dealing with the different accounts and how they all interacted with each other, and kind of making sure those checks and balances that would be necessary in the harbor were working well together. And that's all from me.
We're now going to get into the actual kind of like overview and walkthrough of the software implementation and like what this actually looks like under the hood and at the ground level. So we have three main packages here. The harbor system, which contains a lot of the information about the GUI and that good stuff. Hardware is related to objects representing physical things like docks, harbors, and boats. And then a people package, which represents all of our users in this system. So we'll start with the people. Just a brief look at, we have an abstract class of person, which contains all of the information that every kind of user will need in the harbor system. Highlights here are name, username, password, occupation, and of course the harbor that they are within. So pretty standard stuff here, just some getters and setters and a constructor. Then I think it's worth going from here to harbor master. So this guy is pretty important. He can do a lot of things, like he can assign boat to dock, he can remove boats from docks, and he can assign tugboats. These are kind of the main functions here that will get implemented. And as you notice, they all return strings, which will be taken advantage of by the GUI system. So those are his three main functions. From there, we'll talk about dock operators. These guys can man docks, unman docks, unload and unload ships. Those are their three main functions, all returning strings and also interacting with the objects given. They have a private dock class or field within it. And just so I make sure, yep. And then so from here, those are the harbor and dock operator, harbor master and dock operator classes. So now we have another abstract class called captain, which only has a protected character license type, which is pertinent for the captain objects. So from there, we go into shipping captain, which extends captain, which extends people, person. So we have a little, some good inheritance going on there. Shipping captains have a field with their shipping boat and a dock assignment, which is a Boolean field, which is either true or false, obviously. Their big functions here are captaining a ship, disembarking a ship, requesting a dock assignment, and requesting a dock departure. So those are the big functions that they can do. Moving on to close, please. Moving on to tug captain. These guys have a tugboat field and a shipping boat field, which is an assigned ship. So captains are affiliated with the tug that they're captaining and also the shipping boat that they're pulling into the system. So their functions are captain tug and disembarking tug. you'll notice that there's no way for the tug to change this shipping boat, this assigned ship field within their class, but that is because it is a function of the harbor master. Okay, so that does it for the people package. Let's move on to hardware package. We'll start with the dock object. Now, docks have a lot of fields. They have a name, a max boat size they can take, a Boolean field declaring whether they are clear or not, if the boat is there or not, and if they're manned, if a dock operator is present within the dock. They have a shipping boat field and a dock operator field, and obviously their harbor field. And so that's all the objects all the fields they have. They don't have any custom methods or anything. They're really just here to kind of represent something within a real world application. Then we move on to the boat. This is an abstract class, which contains information like its name, its weight, the captain, the length of it, and what harbor it belongs to. Again, no specific methods. It does have a abstract field called print ship info, which will be implemented by any of its children classes, because different children classes can print different things. So I thought that was fun to get to use an abstract method. So let's talk about tugboats first. Tugboats have they're always assigned a length of 500. They have a shipping boat field that represents their assignment. And here is the implemented abstract field method, print ship info, which represents specific information about a tugboat. From there, we'll go on to shipping boat. Now, shipping boats have an array list of tugboats that are assigned to them, which will come in handy later. An unloading status, whether that's true or false. False if not loaded, true if unloaded. Not unloaded, and then unloaded. And then a dock, obviously, that they are assigned to. They also have a method to print their own ship info again, and a field to a little algorithm here to calculate the required amount of tugboats, because bigger ships will need a different amount of tugboats. And the last class for the hardware package will be the harbor. Now, this contains a lot of information. It has an array list of all the pertinent objects. It has available docks, unavailable docks, harbor masters, all the users we have just talked about. So this is the big key class for this system. It has a lot of getters and setters that add the object to the harbor, and also adds the harbor to the object that is getting inputted, as well as it has a lot of printing info that will come in handy later, as well as some loading and saving data methods that take advantage of serializable implementation. So harbor class is definitely very, very important. So from there, that is all everything we had up until the milestone. This is the kind of underlying system. Now everything from beyond here is GUI, main menu implementation. So we have a main menu with a lot of stuff going on. I won't go through all of it, but this kind of handles the main login panel, as well as creating accounts, logging in as different users, and saving your info or loading info. From the main menu, you have 4 submenus you can go to. You can go to the dock operator menu, which has a couple buttons to man, unmanned, view, unload a ship, view ships, and create new dock objects. We have the Harbor Master submenu, which has a lot of options because Harbor Masters can do a lot. They can dock, they can remove a dock, move a boat, they can dock a boat, remove a boat, assign a tugboat, view dock requests, view departure requests, view available tug captains, and view available docks, view the docks in the system. Also, every user will be given a logout option as well. So just a lot of GUI stuff going on here. The tug captain submenu, which can display all tugs, add a tug to the system, disembark from a boat, and captain a boat. And finally, the shipping captain submenu. This guy can captain a boat, disembark a boat, request a dock, assignment, request a dock departure, view ships in the system, and add a ship to the system. And so this is all of the relevant classes and the entire system that makes the thing run. And when whoever is running this will run it in the Harbor System package, we have preloaded some testing objects here for you to mess around with, and just run this GUI driver and that will bring you into our system. I think the last relevant things to talk about, because that's everything Java related, is we have a root folder that contains our serializable file, as well as an images folder that contains all of our relevant PNG files that we use to spruce up our GUI and make it look nice. But yeah, for the Harbor Management System, this is the total implementation of our Java classes and how we broke it up with object-oriented.
To begin running the software and the guided user interface, you need to select the guided user interface driver on the left-hand side, and then you run it as a Java application, and that will open the main menu window. This is the window that any user will be dropped into upon running the program, and you can see that there is a slot for username and password, as well as a few different options on the right-hand side here. You can choose to sign in as one of the 4 pre-defined occupations as a captain of a tugboat, a captain of a cargo ship or shipping captain, a dock operator, or the harbor master. We'll start with the tug captain. And here we have a few different checks for names and passwords when signing in. You can't just enter any name and password. When you enter an incorrect username or password, the first check that occurs is checking to see whether or not the username is recognized. And when it is not, it will tell you. We can change that to a proper one. We will be Tug Captain Hay. And when we try to log in without changing the password, it tells us that although the username was found, password didn't match. So we will update the password. And you can see here that we have included a privacy screen of sorts over the password. But as we log in, we can see that it took that information and we're now on the Tug Captain screen. So this was an example, Tug Captain 1, and captains can captain a tugboat. They can disembark their current tugboat if they've been assigned to one. They can view the they can view the tugboats in the system, and then they can add their own tugboat to the system if all pre-added ones are occupied. However, when we look at this one, we can see that there are 2 tugboats in the system, neither of which are being currently occupied. However, we can add one for demonstration purposes. We'll call it Tug 3, and we'll give it a length of 100 feet. And there's the message that pops up confirming that we have added our new tugboat. And now we can view that in the system. Tug 3, length 100, no captain, no current tug assignment. So why don't we captain our new tugboat? We can select to captain a new one. We'll enter the name of the one that we just created, Tug 3, and there you can see it is confirmed. We are now the captain of Tug 3. Of course, we can disembark, which right there says we are no longer the captain of Tug 3, and if we look back in the system, we can see that their current captain is none. But let's just undo that for a second. Tug 3, we're now captaining Tug 3. Now we can view the boats in the system. Captain for Tug 3 is us, Captain 1. Let's log out and log in as a different tug captain, so you can see that it can hold more than one tug captain at a time. This one's username is what's good, and the password is that. And when we log in, we're brought to the same screen, and again, we can view the available tugboats in the system. We see Tug 3 is still occupied by Tug Captain 1. However, we will occupy Tug 1 if we please. And now we're the captain of Tug 1. So we can log out. Now we have 2 tug captains in the system. Moving on, we can sign in as a ship captain. Username for an example tug captain is username combined with password, and we should get in. And now we're taken to the ship captain screen. Similar to the tug captain screen, however, there are a few more options in this one. We can obviously captain a ship and disembark the current ship. And same as the tug captain, we can view the shipping boats in the system. We can see that there are two, ship 1 and ship 2. They have different weights and lengths, but they are both above the length required for one tugboat. So if this boat were to dock or disembark, it would need 2 available tugboats to be assigned to it. We can see here that there are none assigned, and currently they are not docked and they have not been unloaded. So as the captain, we can captain a ship. Oh, let me make sure I remember the name. Ship 1. So we will captain ship 1. Ship 1. And we are now successfully captaining ship 1. The other 2 things that a ship captain can do is request dock assignment and request dock departure. This is to simulate if a cargo ship were to come into port, they would request dock assignment, and when available, they would be given one. Here we go. We can request a dock assignment, and that will be sent to the harbor master, and we will check up on that later. So we can return to the menu screen and continue as a dock operator. Now, dock operator, we can use the username AJAJ and password JAJA. As we log in, we are brought to the dock operator screen. Again, quite similar, but a few different options. Rather than captaining a ship, we can man or unman a dock, either clocking in or clocking out. We can unload a ship at a dock, and then we can view the current docks in the system. We can see that this port has 3 available docks, dock A, B, and C, and you can see that they are all assigned to have a maximum boat size, meaning that a boat bigger than this cannot be assigned to this dock. None of them are occupied, and none of them are currently manned, so we will choose to man dock A, and boom, we're now assigned, and we can log out of there. And now we get to the fun part, where we get to play Harbor Master. So, as Harbor Master, blah, with the password blah, we can log in. Oh, spelled that incorrectly. As Harbor Master blah, we can log in, and now we are brought to the Harbor Master screen. Now, this menu is the most expansive menu, as the Harbor Master has the most jobs to do. Harbor Master has the ability to view all the docks in the system. As you remember, as Dock Op 1, we manned Dock A, and you can see that is currently up to date. We can view all the available tugboats. We have 2 tugboats assigned, 1 that's not. Tug Captain 2 is assigned to 1. Tug Captain 1 is assigned to the one that we created. We can view the dock assignment requests. As you remember, as ship captain, we requested dock assignment, and you can see from ship captain 1, a boat with length 760 and weight 1750 has requested docking assignment. It has not been assigned tugboats yet, and we can also view dock departures. However, since there are no boats docked in our harbor, that is empty right now. So, first step, when we see a dock assignment, is we can see that it requires 2 tugboats to be docked. Fortunately, we have 2, so we can assign tugboats. We can assign Tug 1 to Ship 1, and we can see that success. Tug 1 has now been assigned to Ship 1, and as we can see in the dock assignments menu, has now been updated to hold the accurate data that says tugboat or Ship 1 now has 1 of the 2 required boats to dock. Now, if we were to assign a dock to this ship without the required docks, it would tell us that we are not able to do this. So Ship 1, dock name, we'll put it in Dock A since that one is manned, and it will tell us that we could not make the assignment because we do not have the appropriate amount of tugboats. So let's fix that. Let's assign our boat. Let's assign our boat Ship 1 with our other tugboat, Tug 3. And we can see that now both tugboats are assigned to ship 1, which should work great. Now, if the other stipulation that we have is you can see, oh, no, didn't want that. We can see that docks also have different max boat sizes, as I mentioned earlier. We can see that dock B and C have a max boat size of 750 and 500. And if we look at our current dock requests, we can see that the ship 1 has a length of 760 and a weight of 1750, which means that the only available dock to that boat would be dock A. If we tried to assign ship 1 to dock B, we can see that dock B is not available. That is for 2 reasons. First of all, it is oversized, and second of all, there are no cargo operators available to unload cargo at that location. So let's assign it to an appropriate dock. Ship 1 to dock A, and boom. Tug 1 and Tug 3 have both been removed from ship 1, and ship 1 is now docked to dock A. The reason they're removed is because once the docking procedure is finished, they no longer need to be at the boat side. They are now available to service other ships in the harbor. So, as harbor master, we have finished our duties and we've cleared all of our dock assignment requests. So we can log out. Yes, and we can proceed to the shipping captain again. Shipping captain, let me just get a reminder here. Username and password. If we log in, we can see that we are currently captaining ship 1 and that we are currently at dock A. However, we have not been unloaded yet. So if we try to request a departure, it will tell us that we cannot because unloading is still in process, is still in progress. So let's log out and head into the dock operator menu to handle that issue. Sign in as dock operator AJAJ with password JAJA. And we can see that in the current state, we have one dock in dock A, which is now unavailable because it is full, with a boat in it and and one dock operator assigned to it. We can unload the ship at the dock. Easily done. Ship 1 has now been unloaded at dock A, and now that we have done that, we can see that it is updated. Oh, no, it's not updated in this list. It'll be updated in the harbor master's list and the shipping captain's list. We can close out of here and proceed back to the shipping captain. Shipping captain username and password. Once we're back in here, we can finally request departure because if we view the current boats in the system, we can see that ship 1 being captained by ship captain 1 has now been unloaded. So we can request dock departure. Successfully sent, confirmed. We can log back in as the harbor master blah with password blah and see that in our departure request, we now have one from ship 1 in dock A, which has been unloaded. However, we have not assigned our tugboats yet. So just to show that we're unavailable so far, we can confirm that error cannot approve departure because we do not have tugboats. So we shall assign tugboats to ship 1. We can assign tug 1 since that one was unavailable or was made available. Do that again with ship 1 and tug 3 and see that those are now once again assigned to ship 1. And once that has been handled, we can depart the ship 1, and see that will complete successfully. And again, tug 1 has been automatically removed, as has tug 3 from ship 1. So they are now once again available for use by the harbor master to dock the next ship that comes in. The final set of features that we added to our harbor management system are the save and load and create account functions. So let's start with the create account. we will add myself, whose name is Aiden, username of Aiden P, a password of 2468. We can see that successfully we've been added to the system, and we can test that out right now by entering the username and password that were just supplied. And when we log in, we can see that we are brought to the HarborMaster system, or HarborMaster login page. As a HarborMaster, we have all the privileges of a regular HarborMaster. You can see all the docs in the system, docs A, B, and C. Doc A was previously in the unavailable docs section while ship 1 was docked there. I forgot to point that out, but now that we have disembarked ship 1, we can see it's been again added to the available docs section. Close that out, move on to tugboats. We can view the available tugboats. As we have not received a disembarking request, or as the tug captains have not disembarked from their tugboats, they are still in the system. They are currently assigned to no boat, which means they're available in the case we want to reuse them. We see that we have no departure requests since there are no boats in our system. And additionally, we have no dock requests because, again, there are no boats currently in our system. So logging out of there, yes, we can log out. Additionally, we have the save and load function. We can file save. This function is meant to emulate a HarborMaster leaving for the day and coming back in the morning, not wanting to have to reinstantiate everything that they had just done the day before. So if we close this out, we can come back to our Eclipse, rerun it. Once it opens, we can see that we are in a new page. So Aiden P was the username we created. 2468 was the password we used. When we try to log in, it says we cannot, the username cannot be found. However, when we load, we can see that Aiden P, not changing the password, login brings us to the Harbor Management System. And that will conclude this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it and have a nice rest of your day.